So you just bought your first home. Congratulations, right? You're living the American dream. Your parents are proud. Your friends are impressed. You post the keys on Instagram with that house emoji. But here's what nobody tells you. 3 months later, you're looking at your bank account and you have less money than you did when you were renting that apartment you couldn't wait to leave. The water heater breaks. That's $2,000. Property taxes come due. There goes another $3,000. And suddenly you're thinking, wait, I thought owning was supposed to be better than renting. Yeah, about that. My name is Matthew, and I spend way too much time thinking about why homeownership has become the most expensive investment that actually makes people poorer. If you're someone who's been told your whole life that renting is throwing money away, or you're currently house poor and wondering where all your money went, make sure to hit that subscribe button. And look, if this video saves you from making a $250,000 mistake, or helps you understand why you're struggling right now, give it a thumbs up. And please, share this video with someone you know. Even if they don't realize it yet, there's probably someone in your life who needs to hear this before they sign those mortgage papers. Here's the thing. We've all heard the same advice our entire lives, right? Renting is throwing money away. A mortgage builds equity. Real estate always goes up. Buy as much house as you can afford. And look, I get it. This advice comes from people who love us. Our parents, our grandparents, people who genuinely want us to succeed. But here's what you need to understand. As society moves forward, things change. The rules that worked before don't always work now. Think about it this way. A generation ago, our families believed that going to university and getting a degree was the most important thing you could do. Without that piece of paper, you weren't going to make it in life. That was the golden rule. But today, we know that someone without a college degree can actually earn more than a doctor. We've seen it happen over and over again. Now, look, I'm not saying that having a degree isn't important, because to be honest, that's how I was raised too. My family believed in education, and I respect that. But I also recognize that things change. What worked then isn't necessarily what works now. The world is different. And that's exactly what's happened with homeownership. Back then, buying a home as early as possible was the smartest financial move you could make. Interest rates were low, homes were affordable, and your mortgage payment was often less than rent. It made perfect sense. But today, the math has completely flipped. The economy is different. The housing market is different. The opportunity cost is different. And here's what most people don't realize. We're still following advice from a world that doesn't exist anymore. We're using a playbook from 1985 in a 2025 game, and it's costing people hundreds of thousands of dollars. Let me show you what I mean with some actual numbers, because this is where it gets really interesting. Let's say you're looking at two options. You can rent a nice 2-bedroom apartment for $2,000 a month, or you can buy a similar home with a mortgage payment of, let's also say, $2,000 a month. On the surface, same cost, right? So obviously buying is better because you're building equity. Wrong. So wrong. And here's why. That $2,000 rent payment, that's it. That's your housing cost. $2,000. But that $2,000 mortgage payment? Oh man, that's just the beginning. According to the National Association of Realtors, the typical homeowner spends an additional $1,000 to $1,500 per month on costs that renters never see. We're talking property taxes, homeowners insurance, maintenance, repairs, HOA fees if you're really unlucky. So your actual monthly housing cost isn't $2,000. It's $3,500. Maybe more. Now you might be thinking, okay, Matthew, but at least I'm building equity with that mortgage payment. And look, you're not completely wrong. But let's talk about how mortgages actually work, because this is the part they don't explain at the closing table. Here's a fun question. If you take out a 30-year mortgage for $400,000 at 7% interest, how much of your first payment actually goes toward the principal? Take a guess. The answer? About $700. Out of a mortgage payment of maybe $2,600, only $700 goes to building equity. The other $1,900? That's interest. That's money you're literally throwing away that you will never see again. So in your first year of homeownership, you're paying about $31,000 in mortgage payments, but only building about $8,500 in equity. The other $22,000? Gone. Disappeared. Threw it away. Wait, I thought renting was throwing money away? And here's where it gets even more interesting. That ratio doesn't really improve for like 15 years. It's called front-loading interest, and it's how banks make their money. For the first half of your mortgage, you're basically renting from the bank with an option to buy later. But let's keep going, because we're just getting started with the real costs. Remember that water heater I mentioned? That's not a one-time thing. The typical home needs a major repair or replacement every 3 to 5 years. We're talking HVAC systems, roofs, appliances, plumbing. According to HomeAdvisor's data, the average homeowner spends about $400 a month on maintenance and repairs. Not $400 a year. $400 a month. When you rent and the refrigerator breaks, you call the landlord. When you own and the refrigerator breaks, congratulations, you just spent $1,200 on a new refrigerator. Your AC unit dies in the middle of summer? That's $5,000 to $10,000. Roof needs replacing? $15,000 to $30,000. Foundation issues? Oh man, don't even get me started. And here's what kills me. Most first-time home buyers, they spend everything they have on the down payment and closing costs. So when that first major repair comes up, they have no choice but to put it on a credit card. Now they're paying interest on the repair, on top of the interest on the mortgage, on top of property taxes, on top of the insurance. They're drowning, and they don't even realize it's happening. Now look, here's the part that most people never consider, and this is honestly the biggest cost of all. Opportunity cost. Let's go back to our example. You're spending an extra $1,500 a month on homeownership costs compared to renting. That's $18,000 a year. If you invested that money instead in a basic index fund averaging 10% returns, do you know how much you'd have after 30 years? $3.3 million. I'll say it again. $3.3 million. But wait, you're thinking, Matthew, my house will appreciate too. And okay, yes, historically home prices have appreciated at about 3 to 4% per year. So your $400,000 house might be worth $1 million in 30 years. Sounds good, right? Except you paid $700,000 in interest on that mortgage, plus probably another $200,000 in maintenance, repairs, property taxes, and insurance over 30 years. So you spent $1.3 million to own an asset worth $1 million. Congratulations, you lost $300,000. Meanwhile, the renter who invested the difference is sitting on $3.3 million. Now which one sounds like throwing money away? Here's the thing, and this is really important. I'm not saying homeownership is always bad. I'm saying that we've been sold a story about homeownership that isn't true for most people anymore. Our parents and grandparents bought homes when interest rates were lower, when houses cost 3 times your annual income instead of 8 times, when you could get a mortgage for less than your rent payment. The math worked differently. The strategy made sense. But we're living in a completely different world now, and we're still following the same old advice. And you know what the really frustrating part is? There's this massive psychological component to homeownership that keeps people trapped. It's called the sunk cost fallacy. You've already spent so much money on your house. You've already sacrificed so much that admitting it might have been a mistake feels impossible. Plus, there's a social pressure. Everyone expects you to own a home. It's a status symbol. It means you've made it. Nobody wants to be the person who admits they're struggling, who admits they might have made the wrong choice. So people stay trapped in homes they can't afford, working jobs they hate to pay mortgages they can barely manage, all while telling themselves they're building wealth. Look, here's what I want you to understand. Renting isn't throwing money away. Renting is buying flexibility. It's buying the freedom to move for a better job. It's buying protection from major repair costs. It's buying the ability to invest your money in assets that actually grow. When you rent, you know exactly what your housing costs are. No surprises. No emergency repairs. No property tax increases. You can budget. You can plan. You can invest the difference. And here's something most people never consider. In most major cities right now, it's actually cheaper to rent than to own the same property. Sometimes significantly cheaper. That's not normal. That's a sign that the market is overvalued. Now, are there times when buying makes sense? Absolutely. If you're planning to stay in the same place for 10 plus years, if you're buying well below your means, if you have a substantial emergency fund after your down payment, if you're getting a great interest rate, if the monthly cost of ownership is comparable to renting, then yeah, buying might make sense. But that's not most people. Most people are stretching themselves thin to buy the biggest house they can possibly afford according to what the bank will lend them, staying in it for 5 to 7 years, and then wondering why they're not building wealth. Here's my challenge to you. Before you buy a home, or if you already own one, do the real math. Not the math the real estate agent shows you. Not the math the mortgage broker uses. The real math. Calculate your total monthly costs including taxes, insurance, maintenance, and repairs. Compare that to renting a similar place. Calculate the opportunity cost of investing the difference. Be honest about how long you're actually going to live there. Factor in closing costs when you sell, which are typically 6% of your home's value. And if you're already in a home and you're struggling, it's okay to admit it. It's okay to reevaluate. Sometimes the best financial decision is admitting you made a mistake and correcting course. There's no shame in that. There's only shame in staying stuck because you're too proud to change. The American dream isn't homeownership. The American dream is financial freedom. And for a lot of people right now, in this market with these interest rates, with these home prices, that dream is actually more achievable by renting and investing than by buying. I know this isn't what you want to hear, but it's the truth. And believe me, what you just heard is going to help you more than you can imagine right now. First, reach that financial stability, because once you have that, everything else follows. And I'm not talking about financial stability being when you hit millions or 500,000 or some crazy number like that. No, you can earn 80,000, 100,000 a year and have real stability, because it's not about how much you earn. It's about how you manage your money. And if you want to know how to actually do that, how people earning more money somehow end up more broke than before, I actually made an entire video breaking down that exact problem. It's called Why Earning More Money Leaves You Broker Than Before, The Salary Trap. I'll put it right here for you, because understanding how to manage what you earn is just as important as understanding where to live. These two things work together. Look, if this video changed the way you think about home ownership, hit that subscribe button. Share this with someone who's thinking about buying their first home, or someone who's house poor and needs to know they're not alone. You never know who needs to hear this message. Until next time, make smart choices with your money. Your future self will thank you.